What do Bollywood and Hollywood have in common? I mean, outside of the fact that they're both run by shady producers who seem to get away with everything. It's their habit to bet on the same safe tropes over and over again. I'm Varun Kaushik, your resident cinephile with way too much time on his hands, welcoming you to another new episode of The Screen Verdict. But I say new here with a grain of salt, and that's how you should take it. Since today's cinema recycles plots so often, this could have been shot well before I was born, and you wouldn't even know the difference. Sequels digging up old glories and shaking them till loose change falls out, a Netflix cop thriller that thinks star power is plot, a romantic fantasy so pretty it forgets to mean anything, and a nervy little character study that jitters, sweats, and refuses to behave, like me in my early teens. 4 stories, 4 moods, very little patience, also like me in my early teens, and one big question: should you stream it or skip it? Settle in, grab a snack. This is going to be a long one. I have a lot to say. Let's dive right in. Some films whisper patriotism. Our first review, Border 2, shouts it across the battlefield, wipes the tears with the tricolour, and then asks you if you're feeling emotional yet. 27 years after JP Datta's Border became national memory more than movie, Anurag Singh steps in knowing what he is doing. He is not here for subtlety, and he makes it apparent. He is here for feeling, full dramatic feeling, preferably at full volume. Sunny Deol returns as Lieutenant Colonel Fateh Singh Kaler, and yes, the 2.5 kilo ka haath is alive, well, and landing with the force of nostalgia. The film orbits around him like the sun that refuses to set, but smartly also brings in new blood. Enter Diljit Dosanjh, who swaggers in as the Flying Officer Nirmaljeet Singh Sekhon. He's all charm and steel, playing a war hero with an ease that never really slips into parody. Good job. Varun Dhawan, for his part, is quietly solid as Major Hoshiar Singh Dahiya, grounding the film when it threatens to tip into operative excess. Ahan Shetty holds his own, which is a commendable feat given that he's in the company of critically acclaimed and celebrated actors. And Varun Dhawan. This is not a precise war film, it's an emotional one. Right off the bat, you know that authenticity here will take the back seat and sentiment will grip the steering wheel. And honestly, that's the point here. Mothers, wives and lovers here carry as much weight as guns and aircraft, with Mona Singh and Neeta Mohindra delivering the film's most poignant punches. Border 2 doesn't pretend war is neat, but is absolutely glorific. It believes in heroism, it's loud, it's proud, and it's occasionally a little exhausting. But when the credits roll, you're left saluting, almost even against your will. 3.5 stars, worn proudly on its sleeve like a medal, and fueled by feeling more than finesse. You knew our next film was in trouble when it threw Hollywood's most loved bromance, that is Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, at you like a distraction tactic. The Rip wants to be gritty, it wants to be true crime. I guess it is true crime since it's based on a true story, but it wants to be the glorious big true crime. It wants to be a cop movie about moral rot. But mostly, it wants to look busy while saying very little. And sadly, whenever it does say something, it adds the F word in every sentence. And I thought we left that around in 2025. Set around a $20 million seizure, or the RIP, as the cops call it here, it centers a tactical team featuring Damon, Affleck, Steven Yeun, Tiana Taylor, who's had a great year, and Catalina Moreno. Yet, none of these great actors are fully allowed to stretch and show their full talent. But the most frustrating is the character played by Ben Affleck. He's the worst kind of familiar. You've seen this cop before. He's toxic masculinity and man-spreading personified. For instance, in his introductory shot, he's in a probe by some feds, one of whom happens to be his brother for some reason. He's smoking a cigarette and they ask him to put it out, which he refuses. Now, if you're a 13-year-old boy just discovering the wonders of testosterone, I'm sure you think that this is glorious and this is amazing. But as a well-adjusted adult in the real world, you know that this just doesn't fly. Not only that, this is toxic, it's problematic, and such tropes are overdone, especially when you realize that they are directly impacting young boys and girls. Matt Damon does what he can with the straight man trope, while Tiana Taylor fights the script's limitations, which often limits her to a stereotype. Sasha Kell briefly steals the film by suggesting what depth might have looked like here. Visually, the film is having an identity crisis over what it is, just like Ben Affleck when he oscillates between his two lovers, the Jennifers, both Lopez and Garner, when we all know his real happy ending is with Matt Damon. Come on, it's right there. The film is gritty realism at one moment, but then it has that hazy, orangey camera treatment at the other. Then it oscillates to the glossy, typical camera treatment of a cop show, of a cop thriller. So clearly, tonally, it's a mess. Politically speaking, it wants applause without doing the thinking. Now there's money here, there's corruption, there's cartels, there's moral certainty, literally brandished onto you. And I'm using literally grammatically correctly here, by the way. AWTGG and WAAWB. What are these, you ask? These are tattoos on Matt Damon's characters in this movie and stands for Are we the good guys? And we are and always will be. If you can't convince him, I guess just tell him. The whole film essentially reads like PR for American law enforcement, and it's understandable why that is. It's a tumultuous time in the US and there's a lot of distrust among law enforcement and citizens. It also downplays officers not playing by the book, which can be problematic in and of itself, especially when you put it alongside lighter shows like the cop comedy Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement addressed head-on similar issues. While the rip may be offensive to some, it isn't offensively bad. It's worse actually. It's forgettable. 2 stars here, and mostly for the actors who deserved better material. Our third movie review, The Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, is a film that believes in poetry of detours, but it keeps explaining the poem until the magic evaporates, just like your 10th grade English teacher. Colin Farrell plays David, a man heavy with regret, while the affable Margot Robbie is Sarah, guarded, sharp-edged, and quietly lonely. They meet via a strange car rental agency, a talking GPS for some reason, and a series of magical doors that open into memory. On paper, it's lovely. On screen too, it's lovely. For a while, that is. Director Kogo Noda frames moments like they're meant to be kept and not watched, like a candle that's too pretty to burn. There's lighthouses, museums, and hospital corridors humming with grief. Farrell is beautifully restrained, his sadness worn lightly but deeply. Robbie too balances cynicism with vulnerability and real control, as she always does. But the problem here is the script's need to tell you what to feel. Emotional beats stretch too long, whimsy hardens into mechanism, and the fantasy devices feel less enchanted and more instructive. There is genuinely now a tender good film here, but it's buried under layers and layers of explanation. When it works, it aches. When it doesn't, it drifts. 2.5 stars for a journey that looks stunning, feels sincere, but still somehow forgets to trust the audience. Some characters ask for empathy. In our next review, the 4th one, Marty Mauser demands attention. Uncut Gems fame Josh Safdie's first solo outing as director, Marty Supreme drops Timothée Chalamet into 1950s ambition and lets him sweat through it. Marty is a fast talker, a hustler, a table tennis prodigy with champagne dreams but bus fare morals. The sentiment was also mirrored by its star, Timothée Chalamet, as he took it upon himself to run an aggressively brilliant marketing campaign for the film in the run-up to its release. Oh, the perils of being Timothée Chalamet, born to be a mid-level marketing manager, forced to be one of the world's greatest actors. Chalamet plays the role raw, nervy, unfiltered, as though it's almost always on the verge of combustion. You don't have to like Marty, you just can't stop watching him. The film moves like anxiety itself feels. Shaky cameras, restless momentum, music choices that shouldn't work, but somehow do. The amazingly peculiar Gwyneth Paltrow is sharp and knowing as a fading star. Newcomer Odessa Zion brings surprising warmth and fragility to the movie. Now, not every subplot here lands, not every scene needs to be there. But the energy is undeniably palpable. The restlessness is the point. Marty Supreme is messy, indulgent, and slightly too long. It's also thrilling in its refusal to behave. 3.5 stars for a film that pulses, provokes, and never once asks to be liked. That's it for this week's Screen Verdict. Old wars, new noise, borrowed feelings, and one man who simply can't get enough of jumping into his own chaos. Choose carefully, not everything deserves your time. Even though seems like it deserves mine, because I lost a lot of sleep over this. Anyways, I'm going into hibernation until next week, and until then, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to read the full reviews, the nuances, the arguments, everything, head to the movie review section on tribuneindia.com. Hopefully, next week cinema is feeling fresher, and so am I.